Hello and welcome to Jazz Piano Daily 133. Continuing on with our How to Play from Fakebooks series, here is part 4 of Angel Eyes. Let's load up the music. Let me play it for you. This is the root stomp concept. I'll play it and we'll break it down and I'll explain it to you. Here we go. All right, so what's happening here is the concept in yesterday, in part 3's lesson, we were talking about utilizing the rootless voicings in the left hand and playing the melody with the right hand. And remember, we were playing that melody up an octave. We're going to continue with that melody up an octave. All right, so now today, rather than just playing the rootless chord and letting it sit there, especially for like 2 beats, we are adding in the root first. Why do we do that? Well, first of all, a rootless chord has no root in it, right? So when it has no root, it kind of sounds thin. In fact, if you were to look at this, that is a what? That's an E flat major 7th chord, right? But when I put the C underneath it, then it becomes a C minor 7 chord with the 9. Okay? A lot of students get confused by this, especially like things like the 9th here. Like, for instance, if we're in the key of C, right? It's all white notes in the key of C. If I play an E minor 7 with a 9, it's an F sharp. They're always like wondering, like, well, wait a second. How is that possible when that's outside of the key of C? Because everything relates to the chord. So when I'm looking at my C minor 7, I'm saying, what's the 9 of C minor? Well, that's the root. There's my 9. Okay? Again, go back to Jazz Piano Daily 1, 2, and 3 and really review those rootless chords. All right, so let me blow up the music a little bit here, and let's do this line by line. All right, so the first part is the C up to the rootless voicing, then I hit the D, but now here I got to go D, then G. So I have no time to go, you know, I mean, I guess you could, but it's going to sound stupid, right? It's going to sound ridiculous. So instead I hit the D, and then I come up and I hit the G altered, right? And it works well because the D is the 5th of G anyway. Okay. I could have also done this and then gone to G instead. That would work. Right, so that would work going to the G, but I like the sound of the D, so I kept that. Back to C, A flat, then rootless voicing. Remember, you want to be careful about going too far. You don't want to go way down there and have to come up here for your chord. It's really easy to make mistakes that way, right? If you're way down there. So instead, right here, that's enough bass sound. Moving on. A. Then to the D. In fact, it's this D I played. So let's do that line again. I keep wanting to go down to that D. Again. And then pay attention to this spot right here, because this is obviously a little bit tricky. That is a 3 against 2. 3 up here, 2 down there. So it's so just really just isolating and focusing on that section right there. Just try and get that much. Oops. All right, just really practicing that one section. Remember, breaking up your music into sections is super important. All right, so let's move on to the third system here. Very similar, right? Then A minor 7 flat 5. Let's do that again. And in the last line. And I just do shells there. Okay, why shells? Because it has the root in it. And it also has my pinky real close to be able to get down to that C again. Now, those fills and stuff, don't worry. We're gonna talk about that, all right, as we move on here. So hang with me for the full 10. All right, now you might also wonder, well, wait a second, can I play this along with the iReal Pro track? Let's speed this up just a little bit here. We'll bring it up to 85. Okay, so you can. Right? Now, a lot of times students get a little bit nervous about playing anything in the bass if they have a bass player working with them. So let's talk a little bit about that. Number one, you can always communicate with the bass player, right? There's nothing wrong with having communication there and asking them, hey, do you mind what I'm doing here, right? That's totally fine. It's being very respectful. The other thing, though, is like when you're playing shells, they're open enough, okay? And then when you're playing this root stomp, as long as you're not like going, you know, as long as you're not like slamming down here in the left hand and really aggravating that bass motion, then it's okay. If you're just hitting that real quick, right, then it's probably going to be fine. Typically where the problem comes in between a pianist's left hand and a bass player is when the pianist is deciding to do something like, yeah, like, whoa, you're playing way too much stuff down there if you got a bass player playing with you, unless you and the bass player have worked something out. So like, for instance, if you and the bass player had this, I don't particularly love that, but let's say you and the bass player had that worked out, that was a pattern that you're both going to play, then that's fine if it's that active down there. But that's if you're working with the bass player. Remember, again, it's all about communication. All right, so anyway, that's the root stomp, all right? So now these two lessons here obviously will probably take you more than a day to get down. That's absolutely fine, all right? And then we're going to continue on with our 10-part series here and then show you some new stuff in the next lesson. All right, so I'll see you in that next lesson. To get the first 45 pages of music for free, just go back to jazzpianodaily.com. If you liked the video, please be sure to click the like button and also subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. To watch the rest of the lessons in this series, just click on the playlist to the right of this arrow. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.